I will remain calm. I will remain focused.
You look just like your dad there.
He was the first man to the outer solar system. He was a pioneer. But there was much more to him than that.
Please, state your mission objective.
I am attempting to stop an uncontrolled antimatter reaction, which threatens our entire solar system.
We're approaching Mars.
Spacecom believes my father's responsible.
We're doing big things up here, real big.
Aloha. This is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man. And last night, Friday night, opening night for the movie AD ASTRA, I went ahead and I saw it over at the Regal, mall, the Regal Windward Mall. And, well, remember our rating scale, shock a thumbs up. It's good to see, I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down. It's bad to see, it's junk. I don't recommend it. And for the Brad Pitt space epic AD ASTRA, it is a shock a thumbs down. Now, this stars a whole bunch of great stars. Everybody from Donald Sutherland to Tommy Lee Jones, Brad Pitt, of course, and even Ruth Negga makes an appearance in this. If you don't know Ruth Negga, you haven't been watching Preacher, and you certainly should be, because she is splendid in that. And it's wonderful that she actually gets some time playing off of Brad Pitt in this movie. She's really talented. And Brad Pitt does a wonderful job in this as well. Honestly, the entire cast during this movie, nobody really feels like they phoned it in. It's all, it's all up front there for people to go ahead and see a great performance of actors. What gives it a shock a thumbs down overall for this movie is the story and the pace. This is very much, regarded. Some people have said in their reviews that this is the best movie of 2019, but I just don't see it. And there was a lot of talk about, expectations for this movie as far as, I can't wait to see it. It had been in the works since 2016 by director James Gray, who wanted to bring forth the most realistic space movie possible. And one cannot falter him on that. Definitely, it looks like everything used from the moon landing to the Apollo, is used in this. Rockets, the lunar buggies are used, lunar landing crafts. So I think the science is pretty sound and definitely based on what we have already seen, what mankind, humankind has already went ahead and put out, to get us to the moon, and up in orbit many, many times. On that note, I do find that, right off the bat it says, this is the near future. It doesn't exactly say when it is, but it says it's the near future. But the minute it starts, other than some of the creations of like a space antenna that Brad Pitt's working on, as far as the rockets and everything, again, like I said, everything from the moon landing to the Apollo, seems like, just a refit of like Polaris missiles, Polaris missiles, Polaris rockets, things that we haven't used for quite some time. Even some of these Hercules rockets, you know, that we used to use. You know, it just felt dated to me already. Maybe if they had put in like maybe some of the space shuttles, maybe if they had amped it up a little bit, as far as, you know, maybe not as real as what they had seen before, you know, being created in this movie for Ad Astra. You know, again, it just seemed very dated, very kind of 70s, you know, very, if you've seen Apollo 13, it's all that kind of technology, you know, what we use to get up to the moon. And it's like, you know, there's, you know, you could debate it either way, that it's like, well, that's sound principle. We know that it works, so we would stick with that. However, you know, Virgin Airlines, you know, is making, you know, a shuttle-like, plane-like aircraft to get people into and from space for their tourism. And that's depicted here in the movie. But again, you know, with them traveling to the moon, but again, they are used, you know, they use those Polaris-type missiles once again to lift off from the launch pad off Earth into orbit and get to the moon. And I just feel that, you know, that just doesn't seem to make any sense as far as the advancements that, you know, the corporate enterprises are trying to put into motion, you know, in going into space. Again, you know, yes, is it realistic because we'd seen all this stuff already in action? Yes. But in a sense, it's also dated by that. You know, there's no explanation of any extra type of propulsion that gets them faster than rocket propulsion. There is a hint to some antimatter use, but again, nothing, you know, is really, there's no details on that at all. Essentially, Brad Pitt, his character, he is the greatest astronaut on Earth. In this near future, humans have populated the moon, Mars, even Saturn, and have explored or in the process of exploring the deep regions of our galaxy, all the way out to Neptune, I think, is the farthest that they've gone. And it was here that, you know, while exploring the far reaches of the galaxy, that Brad Pitt's father disappeared along with his crew in a ship designed to attempt to search out other planets for alien life. And Brad Pitt thus grows up pretty much, you know, and you know, from a little boy, his father had disappeared. So Brad Pitt grows up kind of in a broken home, his father gone, no father figure, and he's emotionally isolated, distant from relationships. Part of that is also due to his work. Being an astronaut, you know, in the military, they teach you, and he even says this during the film, they teach you to compartmentalize your emotions so that you're not stressed, to calmly think about each thing in a process, you know, to solve problems as they come up and not get emotional and distracted by things, which, you know, makes sense. And also, you know, from a military background, I can, I can relate to that, and that makes a lot of sense. You do kind of put your other, you know, life, your other parts of your life on hold. You kind of put them away while you're out and about, say on a deployment, you know, say out on maneuvers, etc. So this is definitely, you know, I found it fascinating on that level, and that's where most of the film takes place. You know, this very much did not have to be set in outer space. This could have easily been, as much as it is already, a psychological, introspective journey into Brad Pitt's mind, into what he's thinking, his relationships, the way he grew up, the choices that he made throughout his life that made him the great astronaut that he is today. And then it comes back to reflect on the fact that his father was a great astronaut as well, maybe not the best human being after all. Fantastic for work and everything, to explore. However, in his relationships, because of his distance, because of always traveling, because of always being gone on these deep space missions, emotionally distant from his family. And thus that affects pretty much, Brad Pitt's character grows up to be very, very similar, if not the same. So in the movie, we find out that Tommy Lee Jones, Brad Pitt's father, is still alive. This is going to be a little bit of spoilers from this point on. We find out that he's still alive, that he had some type of experiment, maybe to try to detect these aliens that they were searching for, him and his crew, in the depths and vastness of space, using antimatter. However, now that same type of machine, mechanism is being used and targeting Earth and its colonies. They're on the moon, on Mars, on Saturn, that causes epic power surges and basically threatens to destroy all of mankind, humankind, wherever they are. So Brad Pitt, the military, sends him out to investigate. If it is his father, tell him to stop. Get him to stop. If it's just a broken machinery and everybody's dead out there near Neptune on the ship that he was on, destroy the ship. He's sent out with a nuclear warhead to destroy the entire ship and the entire experiment, thus saving humanity throughout the galaxy. But again, like I say, the shots of them traveling through space are epic. There is one fantastic chase scene, firefight that takes place on the moon with lunar rovers, those lunar buggies, which is phenomenal. It's been in the trailers, but I dare to say that that is the best and most exciting part of this movie. I yawned throughout the movie, just kind of looking at my watch, hoping things would move up or speed up, or but it continues to delve into that deep psychological introspectiveness of Brad Pitt narrating within his own head about what's he going to do, what am I going to do when I meet my father, is he really a bad guy, is he really doing this on purpose, what will I say to him, maybe I should have stayed in the relationship with my girlfriend on Earth, etc. It's all this introspective psychological analysis that he is going through that is the drive and the thrust of this movie. Not so much, to save humanity from possibly a madman experimenting out in space trying to contact aliens. So, again, the story is interesting, but at 2 hours, it is extremely dull. Someone fell asleep. I could hear his snoring in the theater, and it was not a packed theater when I went to go see this movie. It was more than half empty. So, I didn't really know what to expect coming into this movie other than Brad Pitt, space, adventure, perhaps, because I'd skipped all the trailers. I didn't even read anything about this movie. And for my money's worth, for what I was expecting, what I was hoping. I have to give it a shock of thumbs down. I have to warn you that it is a shock of thumbs down. If you're expecting some grand exploration of space and struggle against possibly aliens or some type of space battles, maybe even some, man struggling to survive in the far reaches of space, like, say, The Martian even, something compelling like that, this is not the movie to see at Astra. At least not for, the price of a movie ticket. I would suggest to you to wait until streaming or on Netflix for Ad Astra. Although, like I said again, Brad Pitt, Ruth Negga, all do phenomenal jobs in this movie with the acting, with the lines, with the dialogue that they have, trying to move this plot that, although going great distances in space, seems to barely move, just plodding along from moment to moment for the entire 2 hours. And even at the end of the movie, there is a conclusion. But again, the most profound conclusion is deep within Brad Pitt's psyche, where he whereas because of his experiences throughout this movie, he decides to get back together with his girlfriend and pretty much realize that, this isolated life that he lives in pursuit of his career is not what defines or what should define him, but it is, making a life, a family, feeling the love of those who love him. So that is the ultimate conclusion of that movie. Basically, don't look, we shouldn't be looking out to the stars. We should be looking within and towards each other for ultimate fulfillment, apparently. That's what I get out of this movie. But again, I have to give it a shock of thumbs down. It's just way too boring and too long. With the pacing, something could have been done to tweak this movie along and made it much, much more, despite the wonderful special effects and imagery when they are in space. All right, thank you so much. Again, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, giving Ad Astra a shock of thumbs down. Just catch it streaming if you want. All right, thank you so much, and aloha.